Oh, it's been a while since I posted. Done a few modifications to my cart, not really to the roaster itself. Um, Still have the same roaster, same setup up here with Arduino and the Pi. Hard to see that with the glare, but I've added a few things. I still have a bean cooler and a scale, but now I have a hood blowing out the back, a pretty good sized hood. One light bulb burnout. Got this thing used from a friend who's changing out their kitchen hoods. So nice what we got. Got a shelf for my vacuum, a dedicated vacuum, and a place to put the hose, and then a bunch of uh, green bean storage containers. So here it is. I'm getting ready to roast a pound of coffee. So I got a pound. Looks like it's settled up just a little bit as it sat there. Now it's a pound 0.1 ounce. So this is Rwanda. I've talked a few times about my roaster. This thing on stock is rated to roast a pound of coffee, and I think most people that have used these would agree that they don't do a very good job at a pound. Maybe a half pound, 3/4 possibly. So I've added, 1,000 watts and insulated it, and I've roasted 2 pounds in it. That's not the best. A pound and a half is about equivalent to what this machine would do with a pound without any modifications. So you can do it, and if you like what the machine does with a pound for a pound of coffee, with the 1,000 watts added and the insulation, you can get a pound and a half, kind of the same performance. It's hard to get that curve that you really want at a pound and a half. Pound and a quarter is better, but really what I found is 1 pound. If I can roast 1 pound in this machine with the added heat, insulation, that's a really good roast. So I've been roasting a lot of Honduran and some Colombian, and then this Rwanda. And at 1 pound, boy, I like to take it all the way to second crack and then go beyond it just a little bit. I'll get the temperature up to 445 in that range. 450. It's kind of a little bit of a guessing game. You can put the K-type thermistor in in water and get calibrate them and everything, but how I bend this thing, where it ends up sitting in the beans, is it deeper in the beans so it's closer to the heat, or it really, I don't know if that temperature is perfectly accurate for what the bean temperature actually is, because they seem to be a little bit high when they crack. They're, instead of cracking at 390, they're cracking at the late 390s or 400 or just over 400 for first crack. And so I have a tendency to think I'm closer to the elements than I really should be. I need to be more in the beans, and I'm a little deeper with my bin, maybe just a little too deep. But I've used a lot of different ones of these. This one so far is the best. I was using, like, the last time I took a video, this was a 1/16 diameter bendable off of Amazon, and I broke that one and decided, and it lasted me 8 months or something like that, but I decided to try this 1/8 diameter, and they're more millimeters than they are fractional, but standard, but it's still, that's about what it is 1/8 diameter, and my hole is about 3/16 in the end of my basket, so that works pretty good. And this is a lot more rigid. I don't anticipate breaking it nearly as easy. I had to be really careful with the other one, and eventually I did break it. So anyway, I'm not going to go through the whole roast with you. I just wanted to kind of show the new cart and some of the changes that I made. And Anyway, I like this fan. It puts out a lot of air. Boy, that's a big old fan. I'd like to have that underneath my bean cooler, pulling down. That'd be a really nice fan to have. This thing just, it does pretty good on 1 pound, but if I put a pound and a quarter, pound and a half, or 2 pounds in there, it's really, I really have to stir it pretty rapidly in order to get enough airflow through it and pull it off and vacuum it out, pull it off and vacuum it out, because the chaff blocks the air, you know, when it gets down inside this piece here. If I can pull it apart, I'll show you what I'm talking about. On the fine grate there, it'll get chaff on there and kind of block the air, so you got to pull it up and vacuum it a couple of times while you're doing it. But with 1 pound, it does pretty good, and that's really what it's rated at anyway. So, you know, nothing too big. But this thing puts out a ton of air, so I should be able to get rid of smoke a lot easier, and maybe not have so much chaff kind of drifting around before I get it into the bean cooler and it starts drawing it down. That bean cooler, boy, I tell you what, that helped a lot with getting chaff out of the air and that downdraft, because I was using a fan blowing up through beans, and it was just blowing chaff everywhere, and I was trying to catch it with a shop vac and a screen that I would put over it and try to vacuum it out before it blew everywhere, but it was still just a mess. So having that downdraft bean cooler really helps a lot. And now I'm hoping this thing will get rid of some smoke, blow it straight out the window there, the screen on the window, and then also maybe get rid of some chaff blowing. My screen up there will become a chaff collector, and I'll just vacuum it off. Anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoy.